Greg Stubbe, he's the District 17 Republican, great state of Florida, in the House of Representatives. Greg, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Member of the Ways and Means Weaponization Committees, and we want to get into all of that, but I just told you I was a little bit late to the interview, full disclosure to those watching and listening, because I'm just focused on this thing in New York. Greg, I don't understand what's happening to our republic. I don't get it, because these people are openly saying we're going to interfere in the election. We're going to keep this guy in trial. We're not going to let this guy go to his son's graduation. I mean, it doesn't matter if you love or hate the former president. All Americans have the same rights, do they not?
What's happening is we are turning into, and I think we are already there, a communist, socialist, fascist country where Joe Biden is using, and we could talk about the weaponization of the federal government all day long, but they're using the judicial process to go after their opponent. Like, can you imagine for a second if Trump was president when Biden was running and that Trump's DOJ would be doing this against Biden? There'd be all out, like, mainstream media would be losing their mind.
Yes.
Democrats would be losing their mind. They'd be setting their hair on fire everywhere. And the mainstream media and the deep state and Joe Biden and all of his Democratic people that are in all of these cases are weaponizing the court system. He's had 71 different indictments against him. All of which are just complete. Well, I can't say it on the air as to what it is, but they're using these processes. And if you talk to legal experts, they'll tell you this is completely bogus. This case in New York, the last civil case that he had, the $18 million from Mar-a-Lago, just the furniture there is worth $18 million.
Right.
I mean, it's just they're using their power. And this is what you see in Venezuela. This is what you see in dictatorships. This is what you see in communist countries where they go after their opponent because they're currently in power to try to take him down. And here's the result of this. You have Trump being taken out of being able to campaign so he can only do rallies on the weekends. You have millions, tens of millions of dollars that he has had to spend that can't be spent on the campaign. So even if all of these aren't if they don't get a conviction against him in this case, they have accomplished their goal of taking him off of the campaign trail, not allowing him to be able to even go to his son's graduation, not allowing him to do the things that running for the president of the United States requires you to do, and it's sucking away tens of millions of dollars that could otherwise be used on TV ads in Wisconsin or TV ads in Michigan in these swing states. So it's completely and utterly calculated. There is no coincidence that they waited 8 years to bring these charges the election year right before he's running. And it's outrageous.
No, without a doubt, and it's illegal, and they're allowing it to happen because it's New York and it's D.C. Obviously, in the appellate process, he's going to win, if not all the way to the Supreme Court. But this isn't really about convicting him and throwing him in prison, because he can still run from jail and win. This is about keeping him off the campaign trail. You nailed it. This is all 100%. It really is.
And to the mainstream media, so for that 80-year-old grandmother in Wisconsin who just happens to watch CNN or ABC or NBC and hears all of the horrible rhetoric about Trump facing an indictment over here, Trump facing an indictment in Atlanta, and Trump facing an indictment in New York, they're trying to build all of this negativity against him, knowing that these are completely bogus cases, but the mainstream media will perpetuate all these lies like they did the Russia collusion hoax for years. I mean, some of these people, if you ask them about Russia, they'll say, oh yeah, there was something going on there, when we all know now, factually, it was completely a hoax. The deep state used a dossier they knew to be false to be able to get warrants against people, which this Congress just allowed warrantless FISA searches to reauthorize FISA. Don't even get me started on FISA. But like, this is where we're at, where you have this communist dictatorship that's dictating to New York and Atlanta to issue these indictments and go after him because of this is 100% political interference. If Trump was not the nominee or would be the nominee, none of this would be going on.
It is Congressman Greg Stubbe. He's District 17 Republican, great state of Florida. I know the man very well. I've interviewed him 14 times. I know that he's a really nice guy. When he's out in the campaign trail, he's fierce and ferocious. But I'll never forget, Greg, after he won in 16, he was asked by the media, probably some mainstream left-wing media outlet that wanted to do a gotcha question, are you going to go after Hillary and Bill Clinton now? You know what he said? He said, no, leave them alone. We won. It's okay. We won. Let's go forward as a country. We're not going to bother them. Just forget about that stuff. But he didn't realize how disgusting the other side is. From that day on, they did nothing but attack this man. And the Russian dossier was paid for by Hillary Clinton's campaign. You still have Adam Schiff, who has been promising real evidence about Russia collusion for 6 years now. He's still sitting on committees. He's still in the House of Representatives. I'm blown away by it. So being in that building, knowing how much they hate our side, how do you deal with that day in and day out? Because there are some people who are weak-kneed that have an R under their name that will side with them just to not be, I guess, in the target.
Well, and that's what's frustrating as a conservative member of Congress. Like, I'll just use the Mayorkas impeachment as an example. We have Republicans who voted against impeaching Mayorkas. Crazy. And it's like, what are you talking about? They impeach, and not that this is retribution in any way, shape, or form, because Mayorkas every day is intentionally and deliberately violating federal law at our border. Yes. But they impeached Trump over a phone call. Yeah. Like I said, I was on the Judiciary Committee for both of the impeachments, and every single Democrat towed the line, and every single they were talking about kicking him out and investigating him before he even got sworn in. Right. And they all toe the line, and the mainstream media backs them up. And then when we actually do something that is right and that is just, because all you have to do is turn on the TV and see what's happening at our southern border and the invasion that we have at our southern border and the national security threat at our southern border, and you can't even get all the Republicans to vote to impeach Mayorkas. And of course, you're not going to get a Democrat because they all stick together, regardless of what the facts show. I mean, the facts and evidence against Mayorkas being impeached for a dereliction of duty and the invasion of our southern border and the federal laws being broken there's so much evidence. You just turn on the TV and look at it every single day. Yeah. And yet we have people in our own party, and that's what's so frustrating. They're like, oh, well, I don't think technically it was a dereliction of duty. Well, what in your opinion would be? Yeah. And then they're getting out. So like Buck, he's already out of Congress. He voted no. You have Gallagher who voted no. He's leaving Congress. He's still here, but he's leaving Congress. And so there's no ability for his district to even vote him out because they vote that way and then they leave. It's extremely frustrating. You guys, your viewers and listeners need to send me reinforcements so we get some more conservatives up here so we can 100%. Actually cover.
You know what really blows my mind? What blows my mind about Gallagher is that he knows he's leaving after there can be a special election. So he knows that his district will not have representation in Washington until next January. And he just doesn't care, Greg. Why is that? No.
I don't know. I've never really had a conversation with the guy. I don't understand it. I understood Buck because he was supposedly going to get a gig in CNN, and I guess that's more important to him. Wow. But it's just so amazing to me. In both of those districts, Gallagher's district, McClintock's district, he's another one that voted against the Mayorkas impeachment, and Buck's district are conservative districts, more conservative than mine. Right. Gallagher is a +10 by registration. Buck's district, I think, is even more Republican than that. So you have a Republican member of Congress that got elected by their citizens to represent them that isn't representing them. And because the margin is so slim in the majority right now, we only have a 1-vote majority. If somebody's sick and can't make it, you got to be counting votes on the floor to make sure you can even open up business so that the Democrats don't have more people. But from a conservative Republican who got elected to Congress to cut wasteful spending, to protect the American citizens, to see what's happening up here, and we can't even pass basic things. We can't hold people accountable. It's extremely frustrating.
I know that you're right up against it. Have you got time for a quick question about Iran and sanctions, or do you have to run?
Sure. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, let's make that happen. So Iran attacks Israel over the weekend, and this is really how it went down. This is not me being, hyperbolic. They said, okay, we sent all the drones over, we sent all the rockets over, we're done. Hey, U.S., hey, Israel, don't do anything in return, which blows my mind. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? You don't get to attack and then say, okay, we're done. So we had sanctions on Iran where they couldn't get the sort of munitions that they used. They couldn't get the sort of aerial attack that they used as well. We had their money frozen. Biden comes in, lifts the sanctions, sell all the oil you want, here's your money back, don't worry about it. And then we're acting like we were surprised that this happened. You want sanctions back on Iran, right? You also want the proxies to be named terrorist organizations. Fill me in.
100%. The reason why Iran is attacking Israel while Iranian-backed Shia militia groups are attacking U.S. soldiers is because of the decisions and the weakness of Joe Biden. Trump had all these sanctions in place Basically, Iran was broke when he left office. Biden comes in, lifts the sanctions, gets $6 billion to Iran. They actually gave money to the Palestinian Authority in humanitarian aid, $350 million, right before Hamas then attacked Israel. This administration is actually creating all of these crises by their weakness and the decisions of opening up all of this financial aid, opening up sanctions to them, and you're opening up billions of dollars to the Iranians and these different terrorist regimes. That is absolutely not what we should be doing. And then when the Iranians attack Israel, you have Joe Biden telling Israel, oh, we don't want you to retaliate. None of the missiles hit anything. Everything's A-OK here because if you retaliate, everybody's going to escalate. So you actually have Joe Biden telling Israel, who was just shot at by hundreds of missiles, oh, don't escalate this. It's insane, the foreign relations of this administration and this president, where they're emboldening and they're empowering and they're giving money to terrorist organizations and countries that hate us, all while telling our allies like Israel, oh, just sit on the sideline, let them do what they're going to do. And it'd be best if you just don't respond.
Representative, do you know why they're doing it? Because I don't think Obama's stupid. And Obama's running the administration. It's not Biden. Biden's not lucid half the time. But why is it? What do they think they accomplished by sending pallets of money or unfreezing money or allowing them to sell oil? Do they think that Iran will say, hey, we love you guys now? What is the end game, do you think?
Well, with Democrats, it's always political. So if you look at, say, Michigan, for example, we were talking about the election. Look at the amount of Muslims and pro-Palestinian people that vote in Michigan. It's a swing state. They don't want to make upset or piss off that far left fringe of their party that goes and votes. They want to piss off the pro-Palestinians like Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and that entire group of people in Michigan or other swing states by then giving Israel the green light, take out Hamas, because they know that will infuriate the far left of their party. So it's all political, just like the invasion at our southern border. It's not a surprise that they want to allow all these individuals to vote. It's not a surprise that they're trying in some of these states where you don't have to show proof of citizenship to vote. They're encouraging these people to vote. This is all a calculated thing for a political objective so that they can continue to win elections.
There's a lot more to get to, and we frankly don't have the time. Will you do me a favor and come back again very soon? There's a list of stuff that I want to talk to you about. He's on the Ways and Means Committee, also the Weaponization Committee, and he's doing great work. It's Representative Greg Steube from the great state of Florida. Greg, thanks for making time today.